Hey, it's Drybear. The new highest bar in for First Descendant is out, the Death Stalker Colossus Void Intercept battle. So today I'm going to teach you how to conquer the new Colossus fight. Now overall, luckily it's not quite as bad as Gluttony. Most of the mechanics are very forgiving and there is a rhyme or reason for most things that happen in the fight. So once you understand the fight, it's actually pretty enjoyable to take down, unlike Gluttony where a lot of people had struggled facing him in general because he just wasn't as fun. First of all, she is a toxic attribute, so you will get some benefit by doing electric damage to her, and she does have a few parts that you can break as well. The main ones that you want to get right off the bat are the balancers at the bottom. They're very straightforward. These things down here at the bottom, very easy to blow off, and she does have two core caps, one in the front and one in the back. The back one's a little challenging to hit, but if you can hit it and damage it, that is a possible grapple point for her as well. And then she has two sensors on the sides of her face that you can blow off too, and then getting to the core is quite nice. But the balancers are an easy way to blow those off right off the bat and try to help smooth out the fight, and then you have some weak points you can play with as well. Let's start with her debuff, her kind of like gimmick mechanic that you have in this. She will have a lot of her attacks applying what's called a maximum HP reduction or debuff. You can see it actually on screen right now. The UI is the same for if you're using an overwhelming mod and it limits your HP or your shield. You'll notice that I have this debuff on me right now, so my HP bar is cut in half. Half of it is like gray and white slashes, letting you know that that part of your HP is now inaccessible. Your max HP has now been reduced. This will also be denoted by this swirling ring that goes around your character over and over to let you know that you actively have that debuff on you. Now you're gonna have two ways to get rid of this debuff to get your HP back to normal. The first is going to be the normal mechanic, which is going to be the stopwatch areas. She will do a special animation where she kind of like throws her hands to the side and roars, and then all of these little stopwatch areas will appear all over the map. There's usually about 4 or 5 of them that spawn. Inside of these, if you stand inside of them and complete the circle, it'll pop and cleanse anyone inside of it with that max debuff on. It'll get removed from anyone inside. Now, the other way to get rid of these is just to wait for it to time out. It actually will time out over time. If you just wait for it, it'll eventually fall off, but getting these clocks is the #1 way to get rid of the debuff. However, there's a big reason that you want to cleanse these, and that is going to be the timer you see in the middle of the stopwatch. If that bar completely fills up, it will randomly choose one person in the party and hit them with an unavoidable across the map blast of single target damage. It's a golden beam that flies off of the clocks and hits someone randomly, and it does a bunch of damage. So whether you're cleansing a debuff or not, you still want to get rid of every single stopwatch by standing in it and popping it. Otherwise, you run the risk of killing someone in your party with the single target damage that pops. Okay, so now you understand the cleanse mechanic. That's a big one, and also making sure that you cleanse the stopwatches is big too. I've seen a lot of parties already fail because of that, where they try to end up, doing damage to the boss, they forget about the stopwatches, and then they pop off and kill a bunch of people because they're not paying attention. Now let's talk about the normal patterns, the just AoEs you'll have to avoid while fighting Death Stalker. The first one is going to be this pulsing AoE ring that goes off every couple seconds. It is elevation reliant, so you can go underneath Death Stalker or you can go above her and be out of the way, or you can just jump over it, which is the easiest solution to this. This will do a bunch of toxic damage to you, and if you don't have toxic immunity, it'll also apply the toxic damage over time effect as well, which can be incredibly painful. So you basically just have to get into the rhythm of knowing that that big ring is coming, either jump over it, get under it, or get over it using your grapple or just being at a lower elevation, and you'll be just fine. You just have to kind of get in the rhythm because it does hit pretty freaking hard. Next, periodically you'll see her do this special animation where she'll like put her hands out and do a little mouth animation, and then all these skulls will come flying towards you. Now each of these skulls I do believe will apply the debuff. They do a bunch of toxic damage as well, but luckily they are destructible. The best way to deal with these is just to shoot at them before they start becoming a problem so they get away from them. Generally, in most cases, she will shoot 3 of these skulls at everyone in the party. Sometimes if you're behind her for some reason, she won't target you. It's like if she can't see you, she doesn't apply the skulls, but she will do this regularly, and you will want to make sure that you're destroying these skulls because they do start to stack up and hurt pretty bad. And if you ever have skulls chasing you, you have to res someone or stop to do something, it becomes a big problem. So just shoot the skulls. You can also run a bunny that can just go around AoEing all the skulls down to get rid of them. In fact, most of the time you're going to be wanting to do a lot of upkeep on destroying the kingfishers, destroying the skulls that are in the air, and just keeping those out of your way. There's another normal pattern that she has that's a little bit rarer but is kind of annoying when you deal with it, and that is she will shoot out 4 of these toxic orbs in an area, and those will turn each into 2 skull masks, these like white skull masks. So right here, those masks are destructible, but when they finally do timeout or you destroy them, they create a ring each of all this toxic damage just flying all over the screen. So what you can do is you can either just spray them all down in the air so they, they harmlessly explode in the air and don't damage you, or you just wait for them to explode and step away and then come back to deal with whatever area is there. Just be aware that when she lobs those big balls, you need to either destroy them or get out of the way because a whole bunch of damage rings are about to appear. Next, let's talk about her Fury or immunity. When you deal enough damage, the Fury meter will build up all the way to maximum and she will start her Fury state. And there's a couple things you really need to understand about how this functions so you can get through it. It is way better than Gluttony's and very straightforward once you understand how it works. So she's going to do a little flip, spawn to the middle of the room, and then all over the map are going to be these little spawns all over the place. You will see these goobers appear in 4 set locations around the map. It's basically just 4 corners of the map. When they're spawning, you'll see a giant green pillar going up into the sky, letting you know that they're spawning there. So there are 4 of these that are spawned. 3 of the ones that spawned are fake and they look like this. They will be smiling at you, their face will be white, their eyes will be lit up, and their spider legs will be twinkling, and they'll just be laughing at you and joking and just making fun of you as they stand there. These are the fake ones. Do not go near these. Ignore them completely. They are taunting you, trying to get you to go in, because if you go into the circle around them, they will explode and deal damage, and most of the time will end up one-shotting you if you don't have enough defense or survivability, which means your team has to come get you. Which, just for science, let me show you how much damage it does. I'm kind of low here, but again, if you go to the fake ones and you step inside, they're going to pop and deal damage to you and put you on the ground, and this will keep happening over and over and over. Do not go near the fake ones. However, one of the 4 will be the real one, and that's going to look just like this. He will start out with just 2 of the spider legs sticking to the side and have his face covered with the others, and then a meter will appear at the bottom of it. That meter is actually your raid wipe mechanic. You need to have someone in the party run over and step inside of the ring of the correct one that has his face covered with his legs. This will cause the 3 fake ones to disappear entirely, and then everyone needs to go stack on top of the real one until it's gone. If you don't find it in time, like you keep dying to the fake ones or running around looking for it, the meter will build up and build up, the legs will come out further and further, the eyes will open, and if you fill up the meter all the way, it is the raid wipe mechanic. You will all die, the raid will be over. It gives you a lot of time to do this before this raid wipe mechanic happens. All you have to do is just spread out as soon as the Fury starts. Check every single one. You can see them from far away. If there's one that's closed and has the legs over its face, you know it's the right one. Just step inside of it. The other ones will disappear, and everyone will get an indicator pointing to the real one. So once you trigger the frenzy, everyone spreads out to the 4 corners of the map. You know it's going to spawn in one of the corners, so just go there and wait for it. And all you have to do is run up to it. If you see that it's the real one, step inside immediately. If it's the fake one, just back off and avoid it entirely because you know that it's just going to deal damage to you. Then start running. As soon as someone finds the correct one, you'll notice right here, it's now pointing me in the directions. Now there's this beam coming off of my character pointing to where someone found the real one. You just go in that direction and go stand on it. You'll notice that there is this gold ring, just like the stopwatch circles, that fills up very slowly. It goes faster if you have more people in it. So you just need to get enough people to stand in the circle until that circle fully fills up, and the Fury state will be over and you're good to go. But she'll still be shooting skulls and AoEs and rings and everything at you and trying to annoy you, spawning all kinds of kingfishers. You just need to have as many people as possible inside the ring, filling it up until it's done. It's just a timer thing. Occasionally, there will be these green meters that target someone. You can drop these out of the circle if you like, try to avoid it or go somewhere else, or you just bring it down. But once you fill up that meter by standing inside of it, one person can do it by themselves, but more is faster than having just one. Then you can clear that out and it resets and goes back into the normal cycle. Descendants-wise, luckily, this is the first fight in the game where it is very fortunate to have 2 main defensive Descendants on your team. Most of the time, you can just DPS them down, but in this case, I think Eugen is one of the best Descendants that you can bring on this, so Eugen mains rejoice. And there's 2 main reasons for this. One, the res increase is super nice to have as part of this. You know you're going to be taking a lot of AoE damage. She's constantly pulsing massive AoE all over the place, so having that heal is nice. But the main reason why I like Eugen here is that when you get the max health debuff effect, if you're at full HP, it will take you down to half, and that can keep going further and further. If you keep getting more stacks of that debuff, your max HP will go lower and lower. I've had it down to like 30 or 20% HP, fully cursed and marked down. When you you get the debuff removed, you don't get the HP back. So if I have enough debuff curse on me to lower my max HP to 20%, and I remove the debuff, I am now at 20% HP. It's effectively damaged me down to where that was, even though I technically didn't take any damage in that time period, which means there's going to be a ton of opportunities for Eugen to top people up to max HP again. You're constantly getting skull damage, ring damage, the skulls that fly and spawn the rings on top of it. There's kingfishers all over the place. You're getting debuffed and cleansing it. That's lowering your HP again. So there's tons of chances to heal and increase it. And even the debuff itself will slow some healing as well. So I think Eugen is a big pickup here. And the next choice is going to be Ajax as well. The main reason is that there's a lot of projectiles in this fight. There's 3 skulls spawned per person. That's 12 skulls every 15 to 20 seconds just flying around the arena. And yes, Ajax shields, his dome as well as his front barrier and Kyle's barrier as well should block and destroy the projectiles that are coming towards you, which gives you a lot of breathing room for the fight. Now, of course, you can obviously run any of your bossers, Haley, Lepic, Glay, and anything in between. The only thing I don't like about Haley in this fight is just because there's so much going on where you have to move and jump and dodge that being locked into Zenith can sometimes be a little bit more annoying than others, but you can get a nice vantage point or get far away and still get crazy boss damage out of that. And the other one is going to be some really strong damage for AoE to clear out the projectiles that are around you. Unfortunately, yes, the best option for that is going to be Bunny because it's fast and doesn't rely on debuffs like a Contagion Freyna would be, or even like a Valby. A Bunny that runs around with high voltage at max range can very easily clear all the skulls on the map, and it makes the fight a lot easier from that standpoint. So Ultimate Bunny, yes, a great pick for this fight as well. And lastly, I highly recommend getting, even if it's baseline perfect anti-venom, this one is huge. The toxic resistance is kind of null. You do want to make sure you have at least a little toxic resistance. It does help in this fight, but it's not the best. It's not as good as like HP increase would be. However, the big thing here is that it makes you immune to poison. All of the toxic effects that trigger in this fight will apply the poison dot on you. If you're immune to that dot, it saves you a lot of incoming damage because you can get poisoned, to run the dot, hit the ring, run the dot, and you just keep getting poisoned over and over and over, and it damages you quite a lot. So having the poison immunity in this fight goes a long, long way. And that's what I got for you on the new fight. Let me know if there's other tips or tricks you found down below in the comments for other people who might be wondering. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.